Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me and the rest of the panel here on Archive D-Style Boxing here. This is the 38th edition of the Roundtable. We're live every Thursday. Hit that notification bell. That way you're notified every week when we go on live. Of course, being joined by Joe Habib from Ringside Reporter every Sunday. Check them out. G Funky second half of ATP. Check out the show Uncensored on his channel, G Funky Boxing. That's ATP is War. And check that out every Monday night. Of course, we have the Boxing Republic, aka Nancy. How are you doing, Nancy?
Hey, doing great. Thank you for having me.
Great. And Johnny Sig. Check out his podcast, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere, right? iHeart, you name it, Spotify.
Thank you for having me on, brother. Yep.
Absolutely. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. No Paul Boxianos in the building. The GOAT, HLD, Boxer Girl, Boxing Wave, Maestro A. Shout out, hit the like button, and share this video on all your social media platforms. All right. And all that. Shout out to Christine out there in Japan. All right. In the land of the rising sun, representing Team USA. Let's hope we get some medals, all right? Please, okay. Let's get some gold. Out searching for gold in Japan. All right, let's go ahead and get this one started. With the last week we covered what if Wilder wins, but now let's turn the tables. And what if it's a draw? I'm just playing. What if Fury? What if Tyson Fury wins this fight? What will the aftermath entail? What will happen afterwards? What will Tyson Fury do?
Anthony Joshua.
Joe Habib. We're going to go one at a time, guys. But Joe Habib, talk to us. What will happen?
Tyson Fury is so unpredictable, and because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if he went on hiatus again. It took like 2 years off again. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, like almost going to a mini retirement. That's definitely a possibility, because I just think the whole thing with Anthony Joshua, the negotiations, the egos, I think they're just going to get in the way. I am not 100% sure that unification fight does happen. I just think he may go on a hiatus.
Man, you think he's going to go on a hiatus, bro, after winning the fight? Like, you don't think we're going to get a fourth fight, babe?
No. Hiatus.
No? Okay, all right.
Hiatus. Vacation, Bahamas.
All right, okay. So no fourth fight. Well, I mean, what for, right? I mean, at that point, that would have made sense. You're right. Well, what's going to happen if Tyson Fury wins, you Funky? You have dreams of undisputed? Dream. Like that was Beep's song back when he was like in his 20s, right?
That's right.
Oh, man. Keep him up. Keep him above the belt, all right?
Whenever I want to, all I want to do is free. Go ahead.
No, I do have dreams of undisputed at heavyweight. Unfortunately, it's been many, many moons since we've had an undisputed champion at heavyweight. But man, I hate to doubt Beeb, because he was right about the other situation with AJ and Fury. So, I'm gonna value his opinion for sure on this one. I just don't know if that would be the best idea for Tyson Fury to go off and go on vacation again. Seeing that he's had trouble with, addiction and things like that in the past. I think the best thing for him, if he's planning on being the heavyweight champion of the world, is to stay active. Stay as active as possible. Stay in the gym. Stay fighting. This way, you can stay away from those kind of things. So I hope that he does go for undisputed. And, man, it's just been so long. I really do want it to happen. But, boxing, they never give us what we want. But we'll see, man. I just want him to stay more active than anything.
All right. Looks like I put a poll there if you guys want to answer. I just noticed that feature, by the way. So there you go. If you guys want to answer that poll, go ahead and do that. We're now being joined by D. Jefferson. How's it going, brother? Stay right there. We'll get right to you. Johnny Sig, talk to us, brother. What happens?
Wow. Logic tells me that Tyson Fury wins this fight and boxes the brakes off of Deontay Wilder. However, I have a little bit of a conflict of interest in terms of like, I'm going to contradict myself here a little bit. I still think that neutralizer, that power, the game changer that Deontay Wilder has to bring to the table can definitely neutralize Tyson Fury. Now, if Fury wins, to answer that question, what does he do next? I think Anthony Joshua is the most logical thing. It makes the most financial sense. Can they make it happen? Who do I think would win that fight? That's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. I think that we might get a fourth fight here between Wilder and Fury. Like, think about, Pacquiao and Marquez. That happened, right? And there were close fights. And obviously the second fight with Wilder and Fury was not close at all. Wilder had nothing to bring to the table, but he seems like, guys, I'm going to ask you guys a question, and anyone could take this and field this. I think that Wilder looks pretty damn good. Like, he's changed a couple things. Does anyone agree with that?
I don't. I have nothing to base that off of.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are not feeling that.
Well,
No,
I mean,
but
so
go ahead
I think what's
go ahead,
changed, if I can jump in, I think what's changed, so I think I know what you're saying, right? I think what's changed is perhaps just the way he's presenting himself to the fans, the way he's presenting himself and being more visible, and like his visibility has taken possibly a turn for like the better, right? He's not in the news and media for a bunch of the shit he used to do. Like now it's, he's being fun, and we saw him in the fights earlier, just kind of joking around with the commentators. So like he's being more visible, dare I say, perhaps a little bit more lighthearted. So I think he's changed, in that respect. In terms of, has he changed from a physical standpoint? Possibly, but not really. I mean, you're still seeing him a bit out of shape. I'd like to see him in better shape than what he is, and it's like he had the time to do it. So that's the one thing coming into the fight, right? Is did he take this next fight seriously enough to get fit and everything else?
All right, well said, well said. D. Jefferson, how's it going, brother?
What's up, D Style, G Funky?
What's going on, D?
Dangerous D.
Guys, what's up? Hey, man. So,
What if Fury wins?
Tyson Fury, man. If Fury wins, he goes right for Joshua. That's what should have happened before, anyway. I don't really see anywhere else for him to go. Joshua or the WWE. Right? One of the other. I mean, it's nothing else left for him to do but go 4-belt undisputed.
Right. Okay, but do you believe it'll happen? Do you think he'll actually do the fight with Joshua?
Look, I think for 4-belt undisputed at the heavyweight division, what I really think is predicated on is Joshua beating Usyk. I don't even think it matters if Wilder wins or if Fury wins. It leaves too much money on the table for boxing not to make that fight happen. Mm-hmm. Both of those fights are just as huge. I don't care what anybody says, because if Wilder wins, now it's an American heavyweight versus a British heavyweight, it's going to be a massive fight. If Fury wins, it's going to be a massive fight, the biggest fight in boxing either way. So I believe it's predicated on Joshua beating Usyk, because that's where I think politics could get in. If Usyk upsets Joshua, they'll probably have some freaking rematch or a second fight deal in there, and that's when we probably wait another 21 years. So I think Fury or Wilder's not gonna let all that money slip away again. He made the mistake the first time. He's almost out the door, man. He's gonna take that fight this time, bro.
Okay. So if Fury wins, you know what? I have a hard time believing that he will go straight to an Anthony Joshua fight. And I'm basing this off of the fact that I just don't see a pattern with Fury where he takes on two back-to-back elite fighters like that. He's never done it in his career. This is the first time he'll be defending his belt if the fight happens. First time in his entire career. An entire career of this dude, right? So at the very least, he'll be taking some tune-ups, maybe a Dillian White fight or something like that, but I don't think we get undisputed in the year 2022. I don't. later this year or 2022. I don't think it happens, and we might get the fight, but I think by then it'll be like Dragon Ball, man. All the belts will be spread out, in my opinion. Just like
But
I
it
gotta
was going
agree
to
with
happen,
you,
though,
Eric.
right? But it was going to happen, though, right? So before,
I don't think it was. I don't think it was
Was
ever
it?
gonna happen.
So
I don't think it was
I
ever
mean,
gonna
that's my
happen.
question. Was Joshua Fury going to happen? I mean,
No.
that was.
I don't think it was ever
Yes,
gonna happen.
yes, it was B.
No, it wasn't.
B got inside,
It
man.
was.
And
It was never gonna happen. Trust me. I can
It's
guarantee.
coming
Oh,
from
shit.
a place that I don't
Man.
know.
I can
right?
guarantee you for a fact it was never gonna happen.
man.
B's
you
in the
go.
inner circle, baby.
There you go.
Guarantee
No,
it.
I don't. I just don't think.
I bet my life on it.
It's like the dude that was texting the girl and really never had interest to hooking up with her. I think that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Could be.
Like they
could
never
be.
did it, and nothing was never really official. It was all talk, and I'll see when I believe it. That's how I feel about it. But I don't think we'll get undisputed at all if Fury wins. That's just my opinion.
not
Hopefully, I'm wrong though.
We're not gonna get it. Trust me.
I have a
Yeah.
question for everyone.
Now,
It'd
if
be
we can-
nice. It'd be nice if we did.
saying this style, we're not gonna get it.
But let me-
We're gonna win.
because Jonathan, you already asked the question, so let's go over that question, and I'll take care of the questions. But let's go over that first. So, as far
Yeah,
as
go
the
ahead.
question about have you seen it? What have you personally seen from Wilder that you see improvement, and we kind of talk about it?
Oh, going back to that, I've seen him look sharper. He's jabbing a lot more effectively. He looks way faster than he has looked. I think he has been definitely humbled by what happened in the fight with Fury. And I'm a huge Deontay Wilder fan, and I was very disappointed with all the excuses that Deontay made post-mortem that fight. And at the end of the day, everyone gets a second chance. You know what I'm saying? That they get a chance to redeem themselves. And let's face facts, guys. He's got the neutralizer. He's got the eraser. He could knock you out. And now, granted, he did not do that to Tyson Fury in the first fight, but we saw traces of that. We saw like a little bit of a hint of that. Now, does he do it in this fight? I don't know. Do I think he comes out stronger and more passionate? I don't think Deontay Wilder is a type of guy that is just doing it just to go out there and talk smack, okay? I think that he is a real legitimate fighter. I think he really has passion and wants to redeem himself. Now, again, I'm going to contradict myself. Is that, do I feel in my heart of hearts that Tyson Fury will beat Deontay Wilder in the third fight? Yes. However, do I feel that Wilder could pull up an upset knockout? That is very possible. He is one of the strongest punchers that we've seen in boxing in recent years.
Hey, shout out to Knockouts with Nika, A-Rod, Boxeo, LT, Edith Madre, Boxer Girl,
My sis
everybody
right
out there. Feliciano, how's it going, brothers? All right. Does anyone have any comments about that?
I do. Deontay Wilder's training himself. He's not being trained by Malik Scott. He's training himself. He's doing the things he likes to do. It's like if you're a jump shooter and then you're just sitting there taking jump shots all day when you're playing basketball, but you're not a good defensive player, and all you're doing is taking jump shots in practice. How does that going to make your defense better? So he lost the fight because of the inside game of Tyson Fury. All I'm seeing him now do is Malik Scott is giving him all the space in the world, and he's throwing his 1-2. And like Malik Scott needs to crowd him. He needs to simulate what Tyson Fury's going to do in there, right? He needs to get up close to him, show him how to shorten up his shots on the inside, show him how to fight out of those clinches, how to deal with the mauling on the inside. I don't see any of that. I'm just seeing him doing what he likes to do. And Malik Scott is basically his best friend. So you downgraded from a guy like Mark Breland to a guy who's never even, not even, let alone be in a heavyweight championship fight as a trainer, but he's never trained anybody else in his whole career, in his whole life. This is the first time this guy's ever training a fighter. And he's just going to jump in, his first fighter ever training in the sport of boxing. He's going to jump into a heavyweight fight. So if JD's didn't have any experience going in the locker room and checking the gloves, what makes you think that this guy is going to have any experience looking at the gloves. So he has no experience training. This is his friend. And everything he's like, yep, good one, champ. Good one, champ. Yep. He's a cheerleader. He's not a trainer. He's a cheerleader.
Not to mention, how much can a guy that couldn't beat you teach you? Like,
He took a dive for Wilder too. So,
oh boy, go ahead, Nancy.
Yeah. So I think like two aspects, right? Like when we think of any athlete, you have to have that mental strength and you have to be coachable, right? He is not coachable. That's first and foremost, right? So that's proven. So when you think about any successful athlete, whether it's a boxer or any other sport, you got to be coachable. That he is not. And then you think about the mental strength that needs to be there, right? So he can be physically prepared all day long, but if he still is not mentally strong to take in whatever, that first maybe shake or that first hit, if that gives him that anxiety, he's burning more energy just because he's, got more carrying on mentally and emotionally, right? So those are the types of things that we also have to take into consideration.
That's a good point you brought up, and I think we're going to touch on that a little later. But the mental side of it, I think he's
One last quick point. I'll make it real brief. Right. Because of all the excuses he made, he put added pressure onto himself to perform even better. So he's put a lot of pressure on himself, more so than ever. So it's like you said. I don't know if that was your point, Nancy, but
I mean, it's because it can go both ways, right?
Yeah.
So either he's going to show that just mentally he's not strong, and that's going to affect his game going forward, right? Or that he is mentally strong, that he can overcome and come in and get it done, right? Personally, just from what I've seen, I don't think so. I think that there still is going to be something that shakes him. And, when someone comes into the ring like that, that's already carrying all that emotional, whatever it is, right? Whether it's this stuff going on with family, whatever, right? You're going in there with all that emotion. You're going to burn more energy. There's going to be more adrenaline than the opponent, right? So that's the only thing. I do agree. I've seen him get in better shape. So, I mean, that he's got that going for himself. But he's the lone wolf,
The fact that you're mentioning that, I mean, I think that's what happened in the rematch. And I think when people say, he didn't look like himself, I think the pressure got to him. Like, I think that's what it is. It wasn't because he was drugged by Breland or something like that. But the only thing I want to ask you, before we go to the next topic here, one thing I want to ask you, Johnny, is because you're saying you believe he humbled himself. So you're believing, and I'm not like questioning what you, what I'm trying to get at is, so you're believing that there's what he's giving out to the public, and then there's what he's internally doing behind the scenes. He's training like Rocky behind the scenes, but out in the public, he's making it seem like he's being a sore loser, and he's conveying that to people.
Well, what he conveyed was awful.
It's because he's not coming off as someone who humbled himself at all to me. No. I just got to be honest.
No, I'm a huge fan of his, and he did not give himself a good look post-mortem defeat. Do I think he has the intestinal fortitude to try to course correct whatever it was that happened in that second fight? And that's a great question to ask everyone. What do you all think happened? Was Tyson Fury just that good? Was Deontay Wilder not prepared? What happened in that fight? Because that was a weird look to Deontay. Now, we all understand that Deontay's not one of the best boxers on the planet, okay? We've seen it time and time again in other scraps that he was in where he gets beat up a little bit and he gets like that late stoppage, or the power bomb comes into play. But there was no matter what anyone suggests, or even if Deontay Wilder suggests, we could all, I think, all agree that was not Deontay Wilder at all. Like, he was not himself that night at all. Now, I'm not saying any excuses. I think they're all bullshit. I hate the whole thing about I got drugged, my costume was too heavy. I love you, Deontay, if you're listening. Mad respect. I love you. I got to disregard all that. But something was not right with that man that night.
Yeah.
And so now he's got a chance to redeem.
I'll tell you what wasn't right about Deontay Wilder. It was this stylistic nightmare that hit him that night. No one fought him that way. Nobody fought him that way. He looked lethargic because he wasn't used to seeing that, right? And then from a guy, you know what else he generally enjoyed was a height and reach advantage. He generally he enjoyed that. He didn't have that either. Right? And then here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest thing of what happened to him that night. He never fought a guy on that level that had that skill level. Who's even close, remotely close to Fury? It wasn't no breathing drug. It wasn't him tiring himself out. It wasn't any damn suit. It was him fighting a level of opponent that he was not ready for. JD's wasn't getting him ready, and he wasn't listening to Breland. So he just wasn't ready for that level of competition. And I'm going to tell you like this, for all of you Wilder fans with the hope, one training camp is not going to get him ready for that level of competition either. And Wilder hasn't shown us that he's going to have the ability to adjust from fight to fight. The dude's been doing pretty much the same thing for the past 40 fights. Let's be serious.
Oh man. Hey, you guys are tuning into the round table. Hit my like button, share this video on all your social media platforms. Chris Colbert. Hey, Chris Colbert, what about you? What do you think about this whole thing? You know what I mean?
What do you mean? What you gonna learn from a nigga that you knocked out?
All trainers ain't world champions.
What are you gonna learn from somebody? How is somebody gonna teach you something that he couldn't even do either?
Because
you heard what Tyson Fury said?
All trainers.
He said I busted. He said I broke your eyeball and broke your eyeball. Eardrum and your eardrum. He said this shit is a chain reaction. He said how you gonna teach me to do something that you can't even do?
But you know some trainers are better trainers than fighters.
That is not happening. The pad don't hit back.
I'm saying.
Now, I'm saying too.
He looking good though.
I'm saying too. The pad's not hitting back.
I mean, nobody.
Everybody looks at. Everybody looks at. Everybody look good on pad.
I could look like I want to.
Floyd Mayweather. Come on, run it. Come here, Tone. Right here. I want to know. We gotta ask Wilder. And then he say Tyson Fury has something in his gloves because he. Nah, son. Too much. Then the outfit. Like, it's too much excuses. Like, what the outfit made more than you? The shit weighed more than you? Even if the outfit was 20 pounds. Oh, 20 pounds.
The biggest fight in heavyweight history if Wilder can knock him out, because I don't think there's been another heavyweight fight.
That's the only way he can happen.
I think it's going 12 rounds. You think it's going 12?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all it was. That's all he said. And the video has miraculously, like a magic trick, just disappeared. You know what I mean? It just disappeared. I was looking for it the other night. Someone was asking me for it, and it wasn't on the Fight Hype list. But then, I had the link someone sent me. I think it was G-Funky, and then it was there, but it was unlisted. And now it's literally gone. They deleted the video. The video has been deleted, ladies and gentlemen. Nestor Gibbs went on early. Here's the one that did the interview. He went on earlier on the Boxing Voice, and he mentioned about how, hey, I don't know, I'm just the guy that did the interview and gave it Fight Hype. It's gone. You know what I mean? It is gone, ladies and gentlemen. They deleted it. There's no reason to believe that other than somebody felt a little something about it, okay, in my opinion. Somebody felt a little, let's censor this kid. This kid's too real for boxing. He's speaking too much truth. We can't have somebody just speaking truth. No. So let's talk about it. D. Jefferson, what's going on? What do you make of the reaction to Chris Colbert just giving his opinion, and the reaction people gave to it in general, and the fact that the video's been taken down, brother? It's gone from Fight Hype. It's gone.
Yeah. I'll say this, man. I think the reaction is really expected to me, right? You get this. It doesn't matter. It's always two sides here, right? It's a bunch of people that believed what Chris Colbert was saying the whole time. It's like he didn't say anything wrong. So it's a bunch of fans that's on that side of things. And then there's the Wilder supporters and, certain LDBC channels and their followers and such that are against what was said. Here's the thing, and I said this, I was actually talking about this on my live earlier. I don't think Wilder really gives a damn. And I don't think he had it pulled down either. I'm hearing that narrative go around, but I'll tell you guys something. And this is just from personal experience. I'm pretty sure all you guys know Tay Jones, Pac-Man, right? So look, Tay,
Little Tay.
yeah.
Hey, Little Tay, I'm gonna call him Dango to knock you out again and keep talking. Go ahead.
So Tay hit me up one day, right? I was on one of my lives and I was going on a rant. And he and Wilder and his dad was watching my live, and Wilder didn't like some of the things I said, right? So Tay hit me up. He expressed to me that he didn't like the things some of the things I said. But they never asked me to take my video down. You know how many people say some of the most terrible things about Wilder? He's not running around asking people to take the video down. Why all of a sudden is Chris Colbert's video or his comment so special? Jamal and Jamel came after them. Like, why all of a sudden is Chris Colbert so special? I don't believe Wilder had anything to do with that. I don't know why it was taken down, but I don't think it was Wilder or his camp. As far as the comments, like, who likes the excuses? Nobody does. A lot of the things Chris Colbert was saying, well, we already had those sentiments prior to him saying that. So I don't really have a problem with that. But the idea that Wilder had it taken down, I don't really. And y'all know I'm a Fury fan, but I don't believe that with Wilder. I don't believe that nonsense. I think it's foolishness.
Well, look, there's a lot I cannot say, but I'm not. I can't say that Wilder did it, but it's definitely people affiliated with that had something to do with it. There's some complaining going on. I'll say that. That I can't say.
I got some inside information.
But it doesn't mean Wilder himself did it, so I cannot say that. You know what I mean?
Not Wilder himself, but people affiliated with Wilder had something to do with that.
Hey, Johnny Sig,
no doubt.
If you did an interview with Colbert and he said those same things and they came to you and whoever it was, take down that video, what do you do?
If someone wants to take it down, I mean, luckily I run my own production, so I have the freedom to allow me to put anything out there that I want to. I think there's damage control that a lot of people do nowadays. I think Deontay Wilder is definitely part of that damage control because of how many terrible things he said out there over the past year about excuses. I love him to death. Deontay, if you're listening, I love you. You know, I respect you, but a lot of stuff was whack. So, I mean, how do I answer that, Eric? I think it's my own judgment call. If I feel the content is pertinent to individuals that care about it in the boxing universe, in the sports universe, I keep it. If I feel like someone shoots themselves in their foot, what do? I shut it down. I've had many interviews where I've had not only boxers, musicians, actors, whatever, and I said, listen, I'm not sure if you want to really throw that out there, you know, like when you go back and listen to certain things. So I think in this case, I mean, if Chris felt a certain way, Deontay felt a certain way about what they wanted to say, and that's what they wanted. If they felt like it was to go to the wayside, then so be it. That's their judgment call.
HLD saying Mr. Gibbs said it was all the above. Tell him to take it down. Wilder, his people, PPC and FightHype.com. I mean, it was on Fight Hype. I don't think Fight Hype has to tell him it was on their website, you know. But nonetheless, how are you feeling about this, Nancy?
You know, it's if it is true that it was his camp, it's disappointing because they're just doing more damage than good to him by doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a mother, I just think about the moms that are constantly there, like by the coach, like, you know, just saying, you know, don't do this, don't do that, and are constantly like coming to the rescue, helicopter type of moms. You do more damage than good with that. If anything, he needs a Chris in his corner. He needs a Chris that's on his team. That's what he needs. If it's not going as far as, oh, let's take it down, or they think that it's damaging, he did enough damage on his own by responding the way he did and making the accusations that he did against a trainer. So Chris just said what many are thinking about. That's certainly what I was thinking about, and those were my exact comments with what he did. That's all the man said, right? And he needs a Chris. So that's disappointing. If it was his camp, they're doing more damage than good. The best thing they can do is keep it real, right? Give him that reality. So as y'all were talking, it made me think about that headline where you had, Mayweather go up to, Tank in the corner, and he's like, dude, you're losing, right? Like you need to be told like where you really stand in order to get better and know what you need to do. That's what this guy needs. I think that's ridiculous. And I do think it's ridiculous if people were giving Chris a hard time, because it's true. I personally think everything he said was true.
Right. Most people feel that undisputed will happen. We have ended that poll. We got a new poll. Do you think Wilder's camp had something to do with taking out the Colbert interview? You guys could go ahead and vote there. All right. Joe Habib, talk to us.
Well, I had a conversation with you earlier about this topic, and I was listening to H Money's stream, and he had True School Sports on there. And did you see that video, D?
No, I didn't. But you just said H Money scream, and it made me laugh.
No, his stream. I saw his stream.
Okay. I thought you said scream.
No. He did that. He screams too, but so True School Sports interviewed Deontay Wilder's strength and conditioning coach last year, and he was contacted by Tay Jones, and he was basically told to not to post it because he was told that we know that you put up a lot of videos about Deontay Wilder, negative stuff, and we're concerned that you may chop up this video to make Deontay Wilder look bad. So we would appreciate it if you didn't put it up. And H Money actually had the message. He screenshotted the message and showed that Tay Jones asked True School Sports to not post his video with the interview of the strength and conditioning coach. So, I mean, that kind of shows you right there that he's got people looking out on the internet and on YouTube for negative stuff. He's got his surrogates out there, Wilder, without question. And you asked Johnny Sig a question, and if you had asked me that question, and if I was fight hype, I would have taken the video down too, and I'll tell you why. Because if you don't take that video down, you don't go to any PBC events ever again. You get blackballed. And this is why, I have bittersweet thoughts about doing this full time, right? Because if you do it full time, you can get blackballed in a second. And if I had to depend on this as my main source of income, and I would have to walk on eggshells and be concerned about everything I say to somebody in an interview, and are they going to go back and tell their publicist, or are they going to go back and tell the powers that be that, this guy said this about me, don't let him in any more of our events, whatever. So that's a fine line you got to walk. So I feel for these guys that have to do this full time. But, I without a shadow of a doubt, said that, I read that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I without a shadow of a doubt think that someone from Wilder's team, had them take it down without question. I don't have a doubt in my mind.
Damage control, Joe. That's exactly. I could not agree with you.
You know what though? It goes beyond damage control. This is censorship, is what it is. And it's almost like I have some issues, and I'll cook on it a little bit. But Chief Funky, what are your thoughts on this, man?
Oh man, for me, it's very disappointing to see another move like this from the Wilder side, because, I already think Fury's in his head, after that press conference where he shows up with the headphones, doesn't want to say much, only does interviews with yes men, guys who will get on their knees for Deontay Wilder. It's weak, man. It's really, really weak. And I don't give a damn how many of you guys get pissed off that are listening to this or that are hate watching right now. It's weak, man. Everybody knows it. And, I want to touch on something. I think, Nancy, you hit the nail right on the head when you said Deontay needs somebody like Colbert in his camp to tell him the fucking truth. Stop being a yes man. It's not doing this guy any good. He needs to be told the truth to his face. And this doesn't just apply to Deontay Wilder. I feel like everybody needs a person like that in their life to tell them when they're fucking up, to tell them, hey man, get your shit together. All right. Because that's what a real fucking friend does. Okay. He doesn't just like B was saying, yeah, champ. That's it, champ. That's right, champ. Everything is, yeah, man. Yeah. No, that's not the way life works, man. Somebody's gonna have to tell you the truth to your face in order for you to realize it sometimes, And this is just another weak move on the part of their camp to take down the whole video. You know, like this is just crazy, man. I don't know, man. The little bit of chance they give him, I mean, he's got a chance to beat anybody because he's got true hardcore power in that right hand. No doubt about it. But man, those chances have just went down just even more for me, man, after this latest stunt. You know, this is weak, man. Just flat out weak.
You know, and of course, to D's credit, there's always a chance that Wilder himself has nothing to do with it.
That's true.
And there could be some powers that be or somebody that just doesn't like that out there, you know, for whatever reason, right?
Possibility.
It's hard to believe that Wilder's do you really? I don't know if he's sitting down watching YouTube videos and saying, "Hey, take that down." Right? I don't know.
Nah, he watches. I'm for sure he watches. Look, I got a small channel, fam, and so if he was sitting there listening to things that I had to say, then definitely. I think a lot of those fighters watching.
No, what I'm saying is, does he sit there and say, "Okay, let's try to take that video down because it said this and that about"?
Yeah, I don't think Wilder personally.
So
it could be somebody from his team. I just don't think it. Like Wilder, why would he care, bro? Like, why would
absolutely. And here's my problem. Okay, I am 100% against censorship. I don't give a shit what political party you're part of or the ideology is. I don't give a rat's ass. You know why I care? Because once you start censoring people, it's easy to see someone you don't like getting censored and saying, well, I don't care. Well, guess what? What's going to stop you from getting censored when it's your turn? That's the problem. We shouldn't censor people, and the media should not be blackmailed in any way, shape, or form to conform to anything in order to get credentials, in order to get access. Okay, you know, at the end of the day, I think this is just my opinion. The media, the boxing media, needs to take a stand and say, if you're not going to give him access, then none of us go, and they'll stop that shit immediately. That shit will stop immediately. Now, is that going to happen? Unfortunately, not. Because, like, let me tell you something. There's more beefs in the boxing media than on YouTube. Okay, like I see scribes beefing with each other all the time, and they never see the big picture ever. Okay, in this case, well, I don't like fight hype, so I don't care. Well, that's the problem. It's not about who you like or who you don't like. That's not what it's about. It's about doing what's right. Well, I don't like Nestor Gibbs, so who cares if his interview got taken down? That's not the point. The point is they're trying to tell the media in this case, you're not going to get access, all right, if that shit stays up. And if you upload it, you're not going to get access. And access is a big thing to boxing media. They want to be in there to interview the fighters. It's what a lot of them do that for a living, all right? So that's what I think. So that's my thoughts.
The good thing about Ness, though, is his podcast is so big, and he does one every single day, that he could probably make. He makes good.
Right now.
He makes good money off his podcast. Number one, and Ness is such a hardworking guy that if you tell him he can't go to the fights, guess what he's going to do? I'll just go to the gyms and interview these guys. You can't kick me out of the gyms. I don't have to get credentialed to go to the gyms. So you got to, that's why I got to respect Ness. Love or hate him, you can't knock the guy's hustle. Can't knock the guy's hustle.
Yeah, I can't stand censorship. When Alex Jones was taken, I'm not a fan of Alex Jones, but when he was taken down from YouTube, I was against it. Why? Because that's how it starts. You know what I mean? Now, and obviously this is different, but that's how it starts. If they're doing it to fight hype, okay, like you know what I mean? Like, there's already people trying to get credentials to fights. I could only imagine, like, why do you get credentials if you do this for us? Like that's not the way it should work,
Right.
In my opinion.
I think, just taking that scenario out of this specific Wilder situation, just in general, you can't. I just go back to the fact that it's almost like dealing with a kid. I mean, you can't behave in that way. Just because somebody says something bad about you, you're doing more damage to yourself, right? So you think about all these boxers, if they start to just, kind of cherry pick the ones they like and start, requesting for things to come down that isn't in their favor, that's more damaging. Then who's going to want to talk to them? Who's going to want to give them that visibility? So just the concept of that, I mean, that's ridiculous. It's more damaging to the fighter than good.
Absolutely. right?
sure.
So we need to be able to have people express themselves, and we need to be able to get authenticity from fighters, and that's what Colbert. Even if you don't agree with what no one said you have to agree with what he said, right? You could totally disagree. You could be like,
Right.
no, I think Wilder can be better. I think he does look good in the mitts. I do think it makes a difference because there is an argument to. You don't have to be a former world champion or something to be a good trainer. Freddie Roach trains Pacquiao, and no one's going to tell me like Freddie Roach could have beat half the dudes Pacquiao beat. You know what I mean? But he's his trainer. You know, Customato never fought, but it was Enzo Calazaghe never fought. But here's the difference. You know, those guys proved it in a course of many fights, and they came up with those fighters. I don't think Millie Scott's ever been the head trainer or the head dude of any corner, unless I'm mistaken.
No,
This is debut. This is a debut fight.
this is his debut.
So imagine
like
being a head coach on a Super Bowl, your first time being a head coach.
Yeah.
That's
Me-
insane.
Me and D can be in the corner too, right, D?
At this rate,
I mean,
Why not?
all
all of us.
I give Wilder better tools. I'm telling you that right now.
I know you would, D. I know you would.
I give him better tools.
You'd crowd him. You'd crowd him a little bit. You'd show him how to fight on the inside.
Yeah. I'll wear the stacks. Remember the stacks? That would be me on the stacks.
Right.
Absolutely.
I want to bring up a thing or two about what we're talking about here,
Sure.
about like influence. Like when I got into boxing, I'm 42 years old. I admired Evander Holyfield. I admired Riddick Bowe, Oscar De La Hoya, many fighters. They were very charismatic people, you know, and they were able to go out there and for the most part do what it is that they did as great champions and have an influence on myself and millions of people. Nowadays, I think we kind of like lack that a little bit. Now there are guys out there like a Tyson Fury. Like I have to say, you gotta love that story, man. Gotta love that story. He come from the pits of hell, alcoholism, drug addiction. He was overweight. He was a mess. So that's what we love about boxing the most, I think, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's the
The
stories.
Those
It's the
stories.
story. It's the story.
Muhammad
The stories
Ali,
that hook you.
Roy
Yeah.
Jones, like all these guys that came up and that were just huge influences, like Pernell Whitaker and
Yep.
all these guys I grew up watching. I think that's what makes boxing as special as it is. And I think that we have a need for that now. We need less excuses and more people going out there, in my opinion, and going out there and prevailing and influencing, because at its best, boxing could be the greatest sport on the planet.
Yeah.
The hilarious part is that, they took it down, but I think more people, ironically, are going to listen to it because there's YouTube videos everywhere with the main points. Like I just played it. Like it's not going to go anywhere. And that's hilarious, but we can't unhear it just because, Fight Hub deleted it, everybody. You know what I mean? It's like when a judge tells the jury, you never heard that. Strike that from the record. Like, well, I don't know about that one, bro. I just heard it. You know what I mean? So we can't strike it from the record, ladies and gentlemen. Just because Fight Hub deleted it, so I guess it never happened, everybody. I guess the interview never happened. I'm looking at videos saying, people lying on Wilder that this was said. No, we heard it. Okay.
What's insane is the backlash that Chris has gotten over all this, right?
Yes.
Yes,
I mean,
Very
it is
typical,
like
though.
it
Very
is
typical.
sick, right? Typical, true, but it is sick. Just because he's expected as a black man to only go and support the black man for that reason, right? It's like they're basically telling him he's not entitled. Doesn't matter what you think about him, you have to go for him and be on his corner, right? I get that, it's important to support, like for us, the raza, right? I get that. But in this case, I mean, what did he say that was disrespectful, really and truly? It was all true. It was his opinion. Well, I think it's true because that's my opinion as well. But he didn't say anything that was disrespectful, and people just went off on Chris. I mean, calling him all sorts of ugly, right? And I think that's also a shame. So how has this impacted Chris?
Yeah,
That's a great question.
He's gonna take it out on King Tug when he
I'll
fights
be honest
him.
with you. I don't think Chris gives a shit. Like that's just the way he kind of strikes me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I think that he doesn't. I mean, he's proven just with the commentary alone he made to begin with that he doesn't give a shit, right? But people went off and went off ugly. So what is this different? Maybe it doesn't impact him at all, right? Maybe he gains more fans. I don't know. But
the same people that went off on Chris Colbert were the same people that praised Young Pharaoh. So that tells you what type of people these are. Who the hell
Here's
cares,
what I look. I'm gonna say this, and I was listening to Ness earlier today on his morning show, and he was saying call after call. Now, granted, there was a lot of people saying, "Hey, man, do your thing. We support you," but there was also some saying that you should have never put that out, Ness. Like you should have buried that interview. You shouldn't have put it out there. You should have stayed on code and all this other stuff. First, it's not a code if you tell people it's a code. For God's sake, stop saying it out loud. But anyway, but then like here's what they'll say. They'll say things like, "Don't bring up Mexicans as an example if you don't want Mexicans to give us your opinion." Okay? There was a caller there that said, Mexicans, they like to keep things in code. They're always waving the flags, wearing the sombreros. They back up their people because they keep it in code. You know, us black people, we don't keep it in code. You know, but then he tells a Mexican dude, Mario, in the panel to that. But you're a Mexican. You shouldn't even speak on this subject, right? Wait a minute, like, don't you want to listen to the expert on keeping it code? Like you just said that we're experts at keeping it code. Don't you want to hear from us then? But plus, that's not even true. Okay,
right.
When Canelo fought Gennady Golovkin, there was Mexicans that were going for Gennady Golovkin. Okay, there was a Mexicans for Gennady Golovkin movement, and I honestly don't even think there was anything wrong with that. That's what they wanted to go for. You're not required to do it. Like, it's not true. Okay. Lie for the Mexican and side with the Mexican, no matter what, is what you're talking about. That's not what we do. All right? Tank Davis fans showed up to Georgia. They weren't there to keep it code. They were there to be fans because it's exciting as fuck to watch. That's how Mexicans support our fighters. That's all. It's support. Support is different. Don't include, like, I'm just saying, stop using us as an example if you don't want us to give our take. You don't want to hear my opinion on it? Stop calling me an expert on keeping the code.
Right.
Look how many Mexicans supported Spence in the Mikey and Spence fight.
Yeah.
Bro, a ton of there was a lot of Mexicans supporting Spence in that fight. So don't really
That's
matter,
right.
bro.
Yeah,
Can I say
was going for Chocolatito against Gallo. So
my favorite post fight interview, obviously Mike Tyson, spinal. I broke my back.
I mean, look,
No censorship there.
G Funky went for Trinidad. He didn't keep it code and go for De La Hoya.
I'm a big Trinidad fan back in the day.
He went for Trinidad, ladies and gentlemen.
I always pick against Manuel Char.
Hey,
There you go.
He's Lebanese.
Yeah.
he's Lebanese. Well, why aren't you keeping the code with the Lebanese?
Can't. I always pick against him. I'm a traitor.
You
Unbelievable.
go against your people like that, man?
That's right.
But you make up for it because you like Russ Hammer, though. You know what I mean? He's the best cut man in the game. You know.
Stay on code, B. Stay on code.
And by the way, if you don't want people to speak about the code, then stop talking about it on videos.
Bro,
Like, stop telling everybody what the code is. If I tell everybody the code to my front door, and then somebody comes in, the police is like, I wonder how they found out your code. Oh, I was telling everybody about it. Like, stop. Stop. It's not a code if you let everybody know what it is. That's not what saying on code is. But anyway, moving on. All right. Anyway, shout out, by the way, a shout out to the one and the only. Let me see if I can. Man, I deleted it, bro. Oh, no, I did it. Ain't you funky?
Anyway, moving on.
That's right. On to the next. Here's where we're gonna go. We're gonna start with you, Johnny Sig. Keith Thurman. All right, Keith. Once upon a time, Thurman. Shout out to D. Once upon a time, Thurman, as D calls him, I want to ask you on to say he said he's not interested in a Vergil Ortiz fight, and he don't know who the hell Boots Ennis is. He's like, who's that? I don't know who that is.
He's
Right?
not on code.
So I mean, I think this would be good fights for him to get back in the mix, but apparently he has different plans. What do you make of it?
What I make of it is that Vergil Ortiz 17-0 with 17 knockouts, correct? You know, he's a very dangerous welterweight. Keith Thurman, not looking so great of late, you know, inactivity. You could blame COVID. You could blame things prior to the COVID that happened with Keith Thurman. I happen to like Keith, but however, as a fighter, as a top welterweight, I think that he would have significant difficulty against Vergil Ortiz, who is 17-0, 17 knockouts, and an awesome fighter.
Well, what do you make of him saying he didn't know who Boots Ennis is? I think that's a guy that fights on Showtime, he said.
He's full of it.
He acted like he didn't know him.
Yeah.
Well,
Might have been trolling, but I don't know.
My thoughts on that is that he definitely knows who he is, and he doesn't want to risk going in against a young charge, someone that's probably a little bit more passionate. I'm not going to say a little bit more passionate. I'm going to say a lot more passionate. Not to poo-poo on Thurman, but at the end of the day, I mean, Vergil Ortiz is probably going to go in there and try to be as great as he can be. Have we seen that from Keith Thurman? Like, in all honesty, have we? No, we haven't. I mean, yeah, he fought Pacquiao. Yeah, he fought some people, Porter. He fought some good opponents, but have we really seen dedication and passion and commitment? So I think that him saying that is a slight to Ortiz, Mr. Ortiz.
All right. Oh, I forgot to say here. Do you think Wilder's camp had something to do with taking down the Colbert interview? 92% to 8%. 92 says yes out of 36 votes. Thank you very much for that, guys. We'll end that poll right there. All right. Hey, talk to me. The one and the only D. Jefferson. Once upon a time. Doesn't want any piece of any of these guys, brother.
Thurman. You know, guys, I think here's how I see it. Keith Thurman, first off, ego is playing in this. He thinks he's above that fight. Keith has always, since he's been back, he's always put himself up there with the upper echelon guys, even after he lost his title, about what he deserved, who deserves to be in the ring with him. So, number one, I think that's there, right? Two, risk over reward, right? Vergil's a big risk. Not much reward for Keith. Here's the third thing. I think he's eyeballing your Dennis Ugas. See, Spence moved out of the way to go take Pacquiao. Crawford ain't fighting him. It's in the PBC. That put Keith right back in position the way he want to be. Ugas means a belt. A belt means more money. Another money fight for him. We know what Keith wants. He gets a hold of that belt, money fight, right? I think that's the idea. He's eyeballing Ugas because prior to fighting Manny Pacquiao, remember Keith did an interview and he mentioned Ugas. Say you Ugas, okay, yeah, that's a good shout. I could do a Ugas. So that may be what he's eyeballing. And I just think that Vergil's too much risk, not really too much in it for Keith because he could get his ass whooped from Vergil Ortiz, right?
Say that again.
So let's try to get into this Ugas thing. Since Spence let that slide, he ran after Pacquiao. If I get my hand on that belt, I'm right back in there. You know?
Okay. All right. Hey, Chief Funky, what do you make of it? He says not to Vergil, and who the hell is Boots Ennis, he said.
Well, Boots Ennis is a guy who's fought on PBC cards numerous times. Thurman's a PBC fighter, so he knows who Boots is. All right, let's not stop trying to run that drag, Thurman. All right,
who's that guy?
Right? Who's that? You know, but I think both of these guys, Ortiz and Boots Ennis, would be good fights for Thurman. If he, when he decides to come back, it's going to be coming up on 2 years now since he's been out of the ring. Same with Pacquiao. Those guys fought each other in 2019 July. That is just crazy. So he better get to, he's got to get to work, man. All right, because I can tell you this: the more he sits on the side, he's getting older. These young dudes are getting better. Believe me, they're both getting better, and they're coming. And I like both of these dudes, man. I think these two guys are they're gonna bring back this welterweight division. I have a feeling that they're being set up on a collision course for a super fight, and I can't wait to see that. I think both of these guys are good for it. They want all the smoke with all these dudes, and I found these guys after hearing those comments. I'm calling this dude out. You don't know who I am? Well, come find out. Come see me. Come see me about something. You don't know who I am, And at the end of it, I would say, "You better not duck me, son." That's what I would say to him. All right.
I'm fired up right now. Can we put on like Eminem right now? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I can't because of the copyright. But
I want to hear some music. I'm fired up, brother.
I'm fired up. I'm coming in hot. Woo-hoo. There we go. I'm the DJ. You know what I mean? Nazi from the
Yes.
Boxing Republic. Talk to us. What do you make about Keith Thurman saying nah to Vergil and saying he's got amnesia when it comes to Boots? So either way.
So listen, I don't know about Keith. I was about to say, and G Funky just hit the nail on the head. I mean, dude hasn't fought in how long, right? And the last time I heard from him, he was going off on Bob Arum, right, for this crazy rant that he went off on. And I'm just like, honestly, I think it's doing Keith a favor if he were to fight either one of these guys, Vergil or Ennis, honestly. And I would say that if they could avoid it, don't do it. Don't give him that. I used to like Keith, and then I don't know, just with time, just his style, just the way he carried himself, I just stopped being a fan. So he still thinks he's the shit. Is he? Maybe. We'll see. But you haven't fought in 2 years, man. These kids, I say kids, but these guys, they're coming out strong. They're doing well. And then for you to come out all diva, Mariah Carey, Ennis who, right? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's like when Mariah said, J-Lo who? Come on now. You know who. Don't act like that. So I don't know what type of image he's trying to maintain and keep. I honestly, they'd be doing him a favor, in my opinion.
Hey, look, Beeb, in that interview, they also asked him Joe Beeb said, oh, definitely. He's from Ringside Reporter, does the show every Sunday. Tune in. He's a big fan, but he doesn't know who Boots Ennis is, though, and he wants no piece of Vergil Ortiz. What do you make of it?
Yeah, this is Keith just being Keith. His routine's kind of getting stale. We heard the same stuff when Errol Spence. Who's Errol Spence? He needs to get a belt first. Then he gets a belt, and then he didn't want to fight him after that. He tries to talk slick, tries to be kind of funny, but he's just, with all due respect, he's just really not good at it. He's really not a good trash.
Is it the lisp? Is that what it is?
He's just not a good he's not a good trash talker, and he's really not.
Was that an asshole thing to say?
Well, I mean,
No.
you'll get all the speech pathologists coming after you after the show, but don't worry about it. But
canceled by the speech.
The speech pathologists will come after you. But yeah, obviously we know he knows who Boots is. I think Thurman is going to probably fight Sean Porter because Sean Porter's coming off of a long layoff too. He's more or less kind of a part-time fighter right now. Like Keith is a part-time fighter because he's more concerned with the commentary. Vergil Ortiz on the other side of the street, as the PBC fighters like to say, and they're always kind of told and encouraged to fight the in-house fights, right? So I foresee him fighting an in-house fight, and I think it could be the Porter rematch. It's already been floated out there. It's already been talked about.
Yep.
So I see that fight happening probably next because, like I said, both guys are coming off long layoffs, and both guys are trying to rebuild a little bit, right? So I think that's the fight. And I think the Ortiz fight, because it's on the other side of the street, that's an obstacle. And he's a young up-and-coming guy. There's really not much to gain by beating him because if you beat him, you just beat a prospect, right? And if you lose to him, you lost to a prospect. So it's kind of a no-win situation, really.
Bob Dylan, like that dude, he talks with a lisp, bro. Like you know what I mean? And then why was he doing this? Like, the moment I knew Pacquiao was going to beat his ass, right? When it was like, you do this, that, right? And the Pacquiao just looked at him like, you stupid motherfucker. Like, Pacquiao usually laughs. You know what I mean? Like he just knew at that moment, like you stupid,
Well,
I'm gonna beat your ass.
he's like, again, he's just not good at trash talking. He's just not good
He's
at
not. You know,
He's really-
I hadn't thought about it the way you just said it. That's exactly right.
it. He's
That-
very
I
corny.
I
He's
couldn't
really corny.
pinpoint it. I couldn't pinpoint it, but you're right. He's not good at the trash talking.
Yeah, he's
you
really
know,
corny. Like
Anybody
Errol
want to
Spence.
listen to Daffy Duck trash talk? Like you know what I mean? It
So-
just doesn't go.
Suffering succotash.
You know, I laughed earlier because I thought of Mike Tyson, like, you know, and
Yeah.
just, you know, him speaking, it was, I mean, his performance you take serious, but him speaking, it was hard to take serious. So that's the thing with Keith Thurman. I think he needs to realize, I mean, this is his livelihood, right? You can't be just thinking, every boxer's going to think they're the shit, but you just can't, you got to know who you are, right? And you got to know how to trash talk. I'm really glad you worded it that way. I hadn't thought about it. He's just not good at it. Yeah.
Keith, once upon a time, Thurman, like
It is once upon a time.
And then the guy's been off. The guy's been off for 2 years, and what's he just going to walk into a WBA title shot with Ugas after being off for 2 years? People are going to say, well,
That's his
Pacquiao's been.
expectation.
Yeah, well, Pacquiao's been off for 2 years.
that's
But once
where his
again,
mind is,
once again, he's not Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's a legend. He's like he was the emeritus champ. He's the emeritus champ, right? He can come back and
Right.
fight for a title anytime he wants.
Yeah, probably gonna do whatever the fuck he wants to do.
But
You know what I mean?
He
but
thinks
Keith
he is, though.
Keith Thurman can't do that. He ain't got that same clout.
Yeah,
think
plus
it's weak.
Pacquiao's coming off the win, like you know.
I think it was
Correct.
when Thurman cut his hair, man. You know how Samson lost his strength.
But
He
what
lost
does
a little bit of
Ugas
beard, you know?
have in front of him? That could be the best fight he has to defend against. If you
But
think about it.
is Keith Thurman even ranked right now? Because he's been out for 2 years, is what I'm saying.
I mean,
No.
I-
Well,
I don't even know if he's ranked.
He get ranked real easy
He
tomorrow.
could, but with a phone call, he could.
Yeah,
With
he
a
get
phone call,
ranked
he
tomorrow.
could, but I don't know, man. We'll see. I don't know if he's got that Manny Pacquiao clout.
apparently he's been saving and maybe getting some good interest on his money that he thinks he can just reject these fights and just be
Yeah.
like, right after 2 years.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Blood Boxing, The Goat, Boxer Girl, Guido, Bion, Shadow, Ghost will be on next week. Shout out to New Media Today, Boxing, how you doing? Maestro, I think it's Ugas, mostly because he has a title and these contracts have incentives, he says. So, I mean, we will see what goes on with Thurman. Boxer Girl says she likes Thurman. I mean, you know, he's all right, you know, but we'll...
Can I throw one thing out there, guys? I mean,
Really
I don't know if
quick,
you
we're
guys
gonna go to
had
this, but
seen
yeah, really quick,
the
really quick.
Showtime, The Kings documentary, obviously about Hagler, Hearns,
Right.
all the great middleweights. That's what we need nowadays. I mean, these guys are capable. A lot of the modern fighters of today's generation are very capable, but they have to be willing. There's a difference there. You know, when we look at those guys from yesteryear, they were tremendous what they did. And if you guys have not seen that documentary, anyone that's listening, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Check that out on Showtime, guys. We're going to go on here. Usyk, he's going to return with Anatoly Lomacheko. That is Papa-chenko. I don't know if he wasn't satisfied with his performance in the Chisora fight, but he's going to go back to the roots, the guy he started with. So, you know, hey, what do you make of it, D, really quick?
I just think that he didn't need Anatoly for Chisora or Chase Witherspoon. And I don't really think he ever left from the camp or whatever. It's just the guy was really tied up with Lomachenko, Teofimo, you know, probably had to get focused on that. And did Usyk really need him? I mean, it's a good thing, though. I think it gives him a better chance at Anthony Joshua because that's the guy who brought him through the amateurs, you know, brought him up the ranks, sort of responsible for him being the fighter that he is. So
Answer the question. Yeah.
the chemistry's there already. You know, they know how to work with each other. So I think it's a great thing. It can't hurt him, that's for sure.
All right. Well, what do you make of it, babe?
I'm not sure it's going to make much of a difference. I don't know if Usyk is going to be a force at heavyweight. I'm very skeptical of that. I don't think it could hurt him, but I don't know how much more it's going to help him. I could be wrong here, but I don't see him beating Anthony Joshua, and he hasn't looked great at heavyweight. And I thought that Derek Chisora fight was razor close. I thought it was a razor close fight. I thought he barely eked it out, right? So I don't think it'll make much of a difference, but I could be wrong.
Okay. All right. And G-Funky, what do you make of it, brother?
Yeah, I agree with Beeb. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I mean, Usyk he's a really good boxer. You know, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like him for, you know, whatever reason it may be. But this is a guy who cleaned out a division. Let's not forget that he was undisputed at cruiserweight, and now he's up at heavyweight. He's taking on a couple of big heavyweights up there with you know, big punches, and he's been able to outbox these guys. And yeah, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. He knows what he's doing in there. Maybe he just wants to hear that old voice again, you know, in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we'll see, but I don't think it'll make much of a difference.
Man, no love for Papa-chenko over here. You know what I mean? Like, well, what's winning the ESPN crew? I mean, there'd be more
man.
pump.
Thank God they won't
more
be calling this fight. Ooh.
The dots. Remember Senior? The dots. But Nancy, what do you make of it? He's going to go back to his original trainer.
I agree with everything that's been said. And G-Funky, you actually were leading into the only thing I can think of, which is what we kind of started the show with, just talking about, again, the mental aspect, right? So you're thinking, I don't know that he can contribute anything from a, you know, style standpoint, but, you know, this is a trainer that he's been working with or that he's worked with since the amateurs, right? So that's like a really close relationship. And maybe he feels that mentally that's what he needs. So perhaps the move is not necessarily for the physical style training, might be more mental. And we all know how important that is. Yeah. So
most definitely.
Placebo.
Most definitely. Hey, there you go. Well, what John is saying, what do you make of it, brother?
Everyone made great points. You know, I think at the end of the day that maybe hearing a familiar voice that is your trainer, like G-Funky was saying before, that's a familiar voice. You go back to your roots. I mean, you know, Usyk was a cruiserweight, right? So the bottom line is maybe it's like a Holyfield situation. Maybe it's a guy that could transition to the heavyweight ranks and figure out a style that implements and works very well at that weight class. Now, modern times, we have huge big men. We have, I mean, enormous big guys. But, I mean, Usyk has a great skill set. I mean, he was undisputed at his weight category. Now, does he lack power? Sure. For heavyweights, you want to have power, right? That's what everyone wants. But if he has a great skill set, if he's comfortable, I think at the end of the day, if a fighter is comfortable with his training, you know, campaign, then that fighter will be a happy fighter and be a successful fighter.
yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, stay tuned because in a little bit, man, for everyone in the chat, we're going to be talking about that De La Hoya situation with Canelo.
Oh, boy.
But I do want to say this. I think what Papa-chenko does, I mean, he creates winter soldiers. You know what I mean? That's what he does.
Mhm.
You know, and he's going to – that's what he does. He knows, you know, Usyk, and you guys said it. Even if it's a mental thing, even if he feels more comfortable with him,
Yeah.
I think that's the way it goes. The only question would be this. Many trainers will tell you that heavyweight boxing is very different to the other weight classes, right? Which is why some people are questioning Reynoso with Andy Ruiz, because, you know, he's training Ruiz like Ruiz is fighting a middleweight and he's not, you know. And even Tyson Fury pointed out, like, yeah, he has him fighting like he's in a middleweight fight. It's the heavyweight division. You can't be throwing that many punches on the inside for that long. Plus, he's lost a lot of weight here, which, you know, he's not absorbing punches as well. But we'll see how it goes. But speaking of Papa-chenko, speaking of Lomacheko, look, Loma looked spectacular. Everyone here, I'm sure, has talked about that fight on other platforms. So we're not really going to talk about the actual fight, right? But what we're going to talk about is now that he had that great performance against Nakatani, right? 7. What does that mean?
Teofimo gonna stop him in 7.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. All right.
Tell him, D.
What I want to ask you guys is even if he stops him, just how do you see a rematch playing out You know, do you feel confident that he might do better? He might win the fight. Let's start with you, John. You're going to bounce it back. How do you feel about it?
Well, a rematch with Teofimo Lopez, I think, would be a great fight. It was an excellent fight. I think Teofimo, I mean, if we look at his record right now, I mean, you know, he's under 20 fights and he's already accomplished as much as he has, and also took out what a lot of people considered was one of the pound for pound great fighters on the planet. What do I think happens in that fight? Briefly, I think Teofimo wins again. I think that he's got a skill set that is, you know, a little bit sharper than Lomacheko. And Lomacheko, guys, we have to remember, he's had over 400 amateur fights. He's been battle tested. He's been shop worn. He's been through the ringer plenty of times. I think he's a tremendous fighter, and I think he's a Hall of Famer, but that's a lot of mileage, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A lot of tread on the tires.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of tread on the tires. All right. Okay. Over to Nancy. What do you think? After seeing that performance, how do you think he does against Teofimo in a rematch?
You know, so before answering that, I'll share, not that I've been like this big Loma fan, to be honest, but I did think it was kind of bullshit when people were already knocking him off the pound for pound, already like, you know, saying, you know, oh, he's got this loss, it's over. I thought that was so ridiculous. You know, you can't take away, you know, what y'all just said, what he has under his belt already in experience. So I thought that was stupid, quite honestly. That really bothered me. I do think, though, in the fight previous to this, we didn't see the Loma that we were expecting, right? So that was really disappointing. So to see him come out the way he did now against Nakatani, it gives the hope that, hey, he can come through and really make it a good fight and make it happen against Teofimo. But I'm a realist, though, to the good point just made. He's got a lot of mileage, right? And you just got this young whippersnapper of a boxer that's got all the energy in the world. You know, that's hard. That's hard. You know, Pacquiao's been able to prove, right, that he's got the stamina, like, to keep up with some of the younger folks. I just don't see it. I don't know if Loma can, quite honestly. And I like Loma, you know, but I just don't see that he can. And then just one comment that was made somewhere on media that, oh, is Nakatani retiring and he's done? I also think that's bullshit. Come on, he's a good fighter. I think he's a quality fighter. Loma picked him, I think, for that reason, to prove, you know, that he still got it. So I mean, that's my thought.
All right, well said. G Funky, back to you, brother. How does your rematch going based off what you saw?
Well, here's the thing, man, and I've said this a lot on our shows. I don't think this rematch should even be happening, to be honest with you. The dude got beat 9 rounds to 3, 8 to 4 if you want to be nice, okay? That's not a close fight. I'm sorry. I'm not one of these guys that wants to see a rematch with a guy that was blown out, okay? And I'm just sick and tired. Look, if we're gonna trash Wilder and his fans for making excuses, we got to do the same thing to Lomachenko and his fans, okay? First it's my shoulder, and then, oh, they knew it was a draw, and you know, all this other garbage. Loma decided to start late. No, your man got his ass kicked. That's what happened, okay? Teofimo outboxed this dude, took away his footwork, all that good stuff, all right? He's not faster than him. He's not stronger than him. All right, he can't just dance around the ring against this kid like he does Nakatani. Now, look, Nakatani, that's a good win. Not trying to take any credit away from that win. Great performance from Lomachenko. But Nakatani, again, straight up and down guy. Not a lot of footwork. That's where Teofimo can pivot with him. You know, he's athletic. He can do all the shit that Loma does, but just better, I think, at this point. You know, so if he wants to get back in there and get beat up again, whatever. I agree with D. He's going to get stopped this time. Okay, because if he's going to open up and get more aggressive, guess what? You're going to give this kid, who's a very good, sharp counterpuncher, a lot more opportunities to lay one on you. And let me tell you, this time it's going to get ugly because the man was hurt late in that fight. You guys are talking about, oh, well, look at how good he did at the end of the fight. Well, he got hurt at the end of that fight. Did you forget that body shot he landed around 10? Where they tried to say it was a low blow, but it was a border shot. The man was hurt to the body. The man was hurt in the 12th round. Okay. So when Loma picked up the pace, guess what? He picked it up right with him and threw 100 punches in that 12th round. landed like 50 of them. So I'm tired of these excuses. All right, it wasn't a draw. Okay, and if you're one of these guys who wants to act like it was so close 7-5, no, it was not. Okay, I don't want to hear that shit no more. I'm tired of it. Stop with the excuses. It shouldn't even be happening. But if it happens again, I'll take it. Whatever. But he's gonna get beat again.
No
Oh,
censorship
boy.
here, and that's what's up, brother.
Yeah, he sounded
right.
like Chris Colbert over here. Is that Chris Colbert? No, that's you, funky. No, but this is the a lot of Loma fans are like this right now. You know what I mean?
Little birds sat on my window, and they told me I don't need to worry.
Yeah, they're like, I'm not gonna listen to Chief Funky right now. I'm just gonna listen to my song right now. Hey, Beeb, how do you feel about it, brother? After seeing the performance and seeing what he did. Now, granted, I just want to point this out. He did better than both you and Chief Funky thought he would. You both
110%.
Chief Funky said decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said stop it. You stopped him, so he did better than you thought he would. So based on
100%.
that, how do you feel now?
100%. My opinion doesn't change one bit, not even a teensy bit. The big thing here is speed. I thought that Teo was a touch faster than Lomachenko going into the fight, but after watching the fight, I think he's more than a touch faster than Lomachenko. And as G-Funky said, every time Lomachenko tried to come in on the angle, Teofimo turned with him and faced him. So every time, Lomachenko was looking for that entry point, Teofimo was right there. He's cutting him off at the pass. He's like, boom, right there, boom, right there. So he couldn't come in on the angle because there was no angle because Teo took the angle away, right? So then he had that little mini run, like 8, 9, 10, and 11. The 8th round was a swing. It could have gone either way. The clear rounds that he won were 9, 10, and 11. But everyone wants to talk about that little mini run, but they want to throw that 12th round away. Where, like G-Funky said, Teo threw 100 punches, landed 50 of them, right? Hurt Lomachenko. And then everyone wants to say, well, what if Lomachenko did what he did in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th from the beginning of the fight? Well, all of a sudden, is Teofimo's jab just going to go away? He's going to say, come on in. I'm not going to throw the jab out there. Like Lomachenko woke up that morning and said, hey, you know what? I'm just going to take the first 7 rounds off. I'm not going to throw punches. That's my strategy. Teofimo Lopez had nothing to do with that. I mean, come on. So, I mean, styles make fights. And, what I think is going to happen is you're going to see the Teofimo Lopez in the 12th round. It's going to be a continuation. It's going to be a 13th round starting in the next fight. And that's the Teofimo Lopez you're going to see. And if Lomachenko wants to bring that same style he brought in the Nakatani fight, like D said, he's going to sleep. He's going to get knocked out. He's going to get knocked out.
Oh, shit. Hey, D. Jefferson, talk to us, brother.
I heard, I think, someone said something about Lomachenko, 400 amateur fights and such. Look, Nakatani was in the hospital for weeks after the Teofimo fight, and he retired, okay? Coming back to fight Felix Verdejo, he was off of a 17-month retirement. Not break, retirement, because of the punishment he had, swelling on the brain after that Fimo fight, spent weeks in the hospital. Here's the thing. His punch resistance is gone, bro. This guy was tough as nails going into that Teofimo fight. He was the #1 fighter coming out of Japan. He was ranked higher on the world scale than Teofimo when he fought him. Just because people in America didn't know who he was, he's a really good fighter, but the punch resistance is gone, right? This is why Felix Verdejo romped him twice, right? Those type of tough, tumultuous fights that he had with Teofimo when they were banging on each other like that. Nakatani's 31 years old. He's not 23 like Teofimo. This guy's no spring chicken. And styles make fights, man. Like Beeb just said there. What Nakatani was not able to do, Teofimo is very efficient in, right? This kid's explosive. That counter right is quick. Hand speed, much quicker than Nakatani, right? Nakatani couldn't capitalize off of Lomachenko's mistake, where Teofimo was causing Lomachenko to make mistakes. If Lomachenko opens up earlier, the reason I said 7, because that was my initial prediction for the first fight. I had no clue he would come in there and practice social distancing for the first 6 rounds of the fight, man.
We're in the middle of a pandemic, D.
COVID, bro. It's COVID.
I felt like it would be 7. So now I think he's going to come back into this fight. He's going to open up earlier, and he's going to get stopped. Teofimo stops Lomacheko round 7. Let's go.
I got this pillow for Loma. Right. So like we need somebody under the apron, so when he gets knocked out, they're gonna slide it like quick. You know what I mean? So you don't bounce his head like Casares did. But go ahead, Chief Funky.
I wanted to add something to now. Look, here's the thing, man. He the whole thing was about starting early, right? That's what I keep hearing. Start early, start early. Well, he started early on Nakatani, right? And he got him out of there. But the thing is this, I think what a lot of people are missing, and go back and watch the fight if you think I'm tripping or not. But I see Nakatani counter with a lot of good body shots as Lomachenko was trying to come in and slide in on those angles. He's getting hit with a lot of hooks coming into the body and stuff like that. I mean, I could just see this kid picking him apart as he's trying to come in like that. It's not going to be pretty, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Hey, to the moderators, man, don't be timing people out just because they disagree with you on some, right? I'm going to review that after the show. I'm just letting you guys know. All right? All right, that's not cool. All right. So no one here is Loma winning?
No.
It's just going to be, I think it's going to make, if we see, so what Loma are we going to get? That's the thing, right? What Loma are we getting?
Let's say we get the best Loma.
It'll be an exciting fight. I think Teofimo still, I don't hate Loma, but I'm not like his best or his super fan, but
Well, what did he do to you? What happened? Did he ignore you?
No,
he didn't sign your autograph?
He's still a good. I think he's still a good fighter. But is he going to beat Teofimo? That's rough. That's rough. I do think it should make for a more exciting fight. At least that's what I would hope, because I was disappointed. I didn't go into the last fight thinking that he was going to win. I absolutely thought Teofimo was going to win. But I thought maybe I'd still get an exciting fight, and we didn't get that. So if it happens again, then it would be my hope, that we get more of what we saw of him against Nakatani.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Look, Calix saying he's going to pick Loma again. Let's go. All right. Well, we will see, man. We will see. It's going to be interesting to see how.
We got an agent.
Well, we got an agent in the building, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? We got an agent in here. What's going on in the Matrix? Okay.
I think that we all said that Teofimo Lopez has a certain look to him. He's young. Obviously under 20 fights in his professional career. Look at what he's achieved. Look at what he's gone through. If you've never heard his story, guys, look it up. He's been through a lot of stuff. It's pretty badass. Teofimo Lopez is a true fighter.
Most definitely.
Real quick, I'm just going to say this real quick. Lomachenko's here, right? He spent his career getting here. Teofimo's doing this. He's going, so it's not even going to be the same kid coming into the second fight. What do they think he's training for? This kid is learning more and more and more. He's getting better, stronger. He's 23. He's going to be hitting Loma harder to the gut than he was in the first fight, fam.
Can I tell you right now how much I love you? That is absolutely correct, man.
Facts, D.
We're going to make a lot of money. We're all going to make a lot of money on the stoppage proposition. We're all going to take the stoppage.
Hey, Beeb and I got paid the first time, so let's do it again, baby.
I will say this, though. I do think it's going to be a far more exciting fight. I think Loma will have success early.
There'll be a lot more knockdowns.
I think the early rounds will be tougher for Teo, but because of that, he's going to be landing bigger shots on Loma. And I'm telling you that this kid could punch with both hands.
And he won't go into this fight with a fractured right foot.
That's right. No fractured right foot. But not only that, this kid has a one-punch knockout with right hand, with a left hand, with straights and with hooks. One-punch knockout.
And an uppercut.
And an uppercut. And a body shot. And accumulation. And like this he's beating dude in so many ways, you can't even make it up. You just can't. So I just want to throw it out there. Be careful what you wish for. I've been telling people, we were doing you a favor by saying no rematch. We're doing you a favor. Okay, you insist. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. All right. So with that said, let's do a half-year awards here. Just 3 categories. Today is the 1st of July. From January to the end of last month, okay, of June. Let's kind of go over it. We're going to start with Joe Habib. And by the way, this is a divisional round. That means just give me one, guys. Don't throw out a bunch of different names, okay? Beeb, what is the knockout of the year in your opinion?
Knockout of the year, Afayek Jagba versus Brian Howard with that right hand in the third round.
Holy
Knocked
shit.
him out cold. He was out cold for like several minutes.
Caught me off guard with that one. I forgot about that one.
The zone.
Oh, boy.
That was a zone fight.
Damn. Nazi, knockout of the year. Half year, that is. Can you hear us? Yeah, you're muted. I'm sure it'll get fixed in a moment. Just, let's stay put. Let's go to D. Jefferson. Knockout of the year, D.
Oscar Valdez face planting Miguel Berchelt, baby.
That's the knockout of this half year. That was a hell of a knockout for sure. Nazi, you ready?
Sorry, can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me now? Sorry, that was anyway. Did someone just say Valdez?
Yeah, you could agree if you want.
You can agree. You can agree.
Oh, yeah. I agree with Valdez. Yeah, that was wow. That was good.
Okay. All right. Okay. G fuck ye. Knockout of the half year, brother. What's the front runner so far?
Gotta go with my man Valdez over Alacran Berchelt. You know, and not to brag, but you know, I did predict that, you know, and did win some good money on that one. So that might be prediction of the year too. All right, but I'm going with Valdez.
Oh, I gotta get with Wilder's people so we can take down those videos. You know what I mean? So they never happen. You know, I'm just gonna make sure we gotta. I don't know. I gotta pull some strings out here. Johnny Sick, do you have another one, brother?
Oh man, as much as I don't want to just agree with everyone to agree, but I mean Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Berchelt, that left hook sent Miguel Berchelt, who is an amazing fighter, to absolute hell. I mean,
sent him to hell, like JR
sent him to hell. Like I love Miguel. I love all those fighters that were part of the card, and obviously Oscar. But gee, I gotta do a Mayor Stewart. Oh my God! Look at this! Look at this! Look at this right now! Oh my goodness! Like when I saw that, I went into my bedroom where my wife was hanging out, and I was like, "Babe, you got to come out and see this right now." Someone just got sent to hell. Like, so I mean, that's got to be one of the knockouts of the year for sure.
Oh my God! Here's what I'll say. Let me tell you guys something. Morel Casares, man, that was a hell of a knockout. To me, that knockout was vicious. It was brutal. I mean, he sent this dude. This dude was like, he went out on an ambulance, bro.
Yeah.
Casado was talking all this shit all week. Oh, I'm gonna stop Morel. You know, I conquered Chavez Jr. So Morel, here I come. I'm gonna stop you. All you stop was traffic on the way to the hospital, brother. Okay, that's all you stopped. Okay, like dude, they put a neck brace on him, bro. They had a neck brace on this dude. Like he thought he was ready for everybody because he beat Chavez Jr. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Like, you know, and shout out to Morel because boxing needed that win. Someone who beat Chavez had to get knocked the fuck out after Chavez lost to the enemy. So that happened. You know what I mean? So because of that, I got to give it to him. But if you guys want to throw out any other knockouts before we proceed, go ahead.
4 out of 6 for Valdez, like the 4 horsemen, baby.
Woo!
That's right.
Was it out? Okay. All right. Hey, that F. Jabba one was brutal, though. I will say that.
Oh, nice. That was
wicked.
Don't forget Rosado over Beck.
You know, yeah.
Oh man, I feel good for Gabe Rosado.
That was,
yeah.
You know what? That was beautiful. Like I was so happy for him. You know, I was just like,
me too.
Like just jump in, and it's like, yeah, Gabe. I mean, he's just, I don't know. To me, how can you not like Gabe? Like, dude's a warrior, right? So, yeah. You know what? I don't know. Maybe I'm still sticking with Valdez, but man, it was emotional.
I think Gabe got the business in Jacob's fight, personally. I think they gave him the business. So I felt like that was good, you know, that he got, especially over Beck the Bully. That was huge, bro. That was huge.
Could we throw
Nancy, I like how you refer to it as beautiful. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Can we throw Canelo in there for busting Billy Joe's eye, or would you guys consider that not a knockout?
I don't know.
Yeah. Nah, I don't count it.
It wasn't loaded. It wasn't just like it's just, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't quite make it there. You know what I mean?
Get knockout of the year, G Funky. They gotta go on the ground, fam. No TKO for knockout of the year.
And by the way, I was just trying to be, just try to put a different out there, but Valdez for Shell's definitely the front runner. It's probably. Do you guys think it holds the fort? You think it all the way to December?
I just thought of another one. Donaire over Ovale.
Hey,
That's good knockout right there.
Yeah.
Because that was a little unexpected. A lot of people didn't. We predicted it here, but
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know what I mean? Don't take it down fight hype.
Hey, what about Jake Paul over Nate Robinson?
Come on. Leave
Where are we
Nate
going now?
alone.
We're falling off the rails. Where are we
I think he's still asleep. Somebody wake him up.
You know what? Like aesthetically, it probably is up there. He even did the Ali pose over him and everything. All right, guys, let's bounce it back. We're gonna start with Johnny here and bounce it back. Fight of the half year so far. What do you got?
We talked about Donaire just a minute ago. Him versus Inoue. I thought that was an absolute great fight for so many reasons. Donaire is just a great consummate professional, an ambassador of what real boxing and sports should be. He did a hell of a job against Inoue, who is one of the greatest fighters on the planet Earth, in my opinion, right now. So I'm going to say that was my fight of the year for many reasons.
Chief, fuck you. What's the fight of the year to you, brother?
I would have to say the fight that took place Sunday, the cruiserweights, Apache and I forget the other guy's name. I'm mistaken, but Glanton. Yes, man, that was a good fight. Cruiserweights too, a lot of heavy chingazos thrown there. So I enjoyed that fight.
It looked like a throwback heavyweight fight.
Oh yeah.
That's what it looked like. D. Jefferson, what you got?
No, go ahead, G Funky.
I was gonna say that reminded me of like a boxing after dark main event card or something. That fight.
Yes.
I don't like the decision, but Chocolatito and Juan Francisco Estrada that's my fight of the year. I'm not with the decision of the fight, but the fight itself, man, they put on another great show. They put on another fantastic show, and for me, that's my favorite fight right now. I'm not saying that it's better. The Apache fight was great too. That Donaire and Inoue fight. I mean, come on, man. These are all good fights, but I'm just going to go with Chocolatito and Gallo.
The only thing with Donaire and it wasn't this year though. It wasn't January.
Was it?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Did they fight in January? When did they fight?
I think that was last year. Yeah.
Who?
Am I wrong? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah.
It wasn't 2021.
No, it wasn't. No.
Oh well, my bad on that, but that is one that stands out to me.
Johnny,
from January to June.
Johnny, you gotta come with me now. Chocolatito and Francisco Estrada.
That was a great fight. I saw that.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course.
for sure,
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
was an amazing fight.
Shout out to The Fix. Shout out to LT. Shout out to everybody, of course. Nancy, back to you.
Yeah, it was
to you. Go ahead.
Chocolatito. I was there for that. I was there for the fight. Were you too? I mean, it was just, man, it was awesome. And I was rooting for Chocolatito. I got a lot of shit for that. Just going back to our earlier conversation. But it was awesome. I mean, being there, it was a great fight. Just the atmosphere and for so many reasons. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Damn good.
Beeb. Fight of the year.
Gonna throw a curveball at everybody right now.
Man.
No one's gonna know this one.
Orale.
No one's even gonna think of this one.
Oh boy.
The working man. Joe Smith Jr. versus Maxim Vlasov.
Hey, that was a good fight.
He had the big cut over his eye.
Alex favorite.
After 10 rounds, they were even 5 apiece. Had the cut over his eye, could barely see. But the working man went back to his corner, put the hard hat on, put the lunch pill down, came out and won the 11th and 12th round to win the WBO light heavyweight title. Good working, man.
I'm a hard working man.
That's right. Hey, Calix, talk to us, brother. Fight. Give me your knockout and your fight of the year, brother.
I love that song. Knockout of the year was Valdez knocking out Burchelt. 50-50 fight. Most people were picking Burchelt. My boy G Funky was on the front of that one. Picked that upset, but nobody saw any knockout like that coming. That was savage. Beautiful off the back foot too. So that was a beautiful knockout.
I did it.
Knockout of the year, right? And then the fight of the year for me is an easy one. Chocolatito versus Estrada. Beautiful. That was a great 50-50 fight going in and lived up to the expectations. Do it again, man, October. And I'm taking all pie bets on that one too. Chocolatito again.
Ooh, pie face. Orale, pie
Oh
face.
boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right. Okay. The fight of the year is definitely Apoche versus Clampton. Cruiserweight's modern day, but it reminded me of those 70s, 60s heavyweight wars. That's what that reminded me of. And that was a great fight to see. And Clampton, man, I believe they said he works with Garcia, right? Something like that. So I don't know. Mikey Garcia. So either way, that's the fight of the year to me. But I do want to give an honorable mention since everybody went now. Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios is up there. That was a hell of a fight.
Mario Barrios.
I think it was
Mario Barrios. I could see some people picking that one as fight of the year. What do you think, D?
Well, I think it was a good fight. I'm still riding with Chocolatito. Might be biased because Chocolatito's my guy. You know, I'm riding with that fight there. But no, it was a good fight. I think the Tank and Mario Barrios far exceeded anybody's expectations. I don't think anybody thought the fight would be that good.
Okay. Yeah. So now what we're going to do is, starting with you, Beeb, in this half year, again, it has to be from January to June, who is the fighter of the year, of the half year for you?
Canelo Alvarez, by far. Easy one for me.
Okay.
Self-explanatory.
Wow. Man, that's it. We should just move on to the next topic.
That's it.
All right.
Wrap it up.
It's not even debatable.
Oh, we'll see. Okay. Nancy, who do you got?
So that I don't agree, again, like I've been agreeing in the other ones, throw another one out there because I'm with you on Canelo, but to mix it up and think, I'm actually going to say Taylor.
Undisputed.
Yeah, I'm going to say Taylor.
God,
That's
I thought I
my
had
choice.
that one. I thought I
And
had
I'm
that ace in
sticking
the
to it.
hole. I thought I had that ace in the hole. But Calix, who is to you the fighter this half year so far?
You know what? I wish I could do like Teddy Atlas picking 10 rounds or even rounds and do a
Co-winner, like the rank co-winner?
Because look, both of those that were just thrown out, and you have a handful of. I'm not going to go into all that because I know you want time restrictions. You got a handful of guys who make strong cases so far, but I'm gonna go with Josh Taylor so far. But I don't think it's going to be Josh Taylor at the end of the year because if Canelo fights in September and December 4 times in 2021, you're not going to be able to deny him if he goes 4-0. But right now, Josh Taylor has the most meaningful win of the year, in my opinion. So I got to go Josh Taylor.
All right. D. Jefferson. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm with Josh. Nancy got me. She got to it first. But yeah, I mean, he's got 4 belt undisputed. So you got to give it to him, man.
Yep.
You know, you got to give it to him. Right now, at least. Now, look, Nonito Donaire could pass him.
Yes.
Right? That could happen by the end of the year. Canelo could go past him. Jamel Charlo could pass him because he beat a champion. And if he competes against Castaño, then he could pass him because he'll be 4 belt undisputed. But at this point, I have to go with Josh Taylor.
Makes sense. Okay. Chief Funky, who's the fighter of the year to you, brother?
Well, Beeb threw a curveball at us the last round, so I'm throwing a change up in this round, okay? And I'm going to give the fighter of the year so far to Anderson Spider Silva for embarrassing that embarrassment of a fighter in Chavez Sr. Whipped his ass in his home country, man. Get him out of here. I don't want to see him no more.
I know this isn't the I know this isn't in the agenda, but can we do upset of the year? Logan Paul over Floyd Mayweather?
Oh no.
We'll see.
I
Okay.
should have said
Okay.
Jake Paul. Damn.
Man. Johnny Sig, who do you got as a fighter this half year, brother?
Teofimo Lopez. I mean,
is it?
look at what he's accomplished over the past year. Look at what he's done.
Well,
He took-
remember, it has to be from January to June.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's one of the best fighters on the planet. Whether he fought on this calendar year, I mean, the COVID calendar is
He's gonna get
crazy.
the award.
Obviously, I get confused about the COVID calendar, but I think he's one of the best fighters on the planet right now, and I think that he is going to be the fighter of the year when it shows up, because we still have 6 months to go.
Okay. To me, the fighter this half year so far is Gallo Estrada, because he beat his nemesis in a rematch in Chocolatito. Okay. Gallo Estrada is the man right now. They're going to run it back in October, so there's no more crying and excuses from the Chocolatito side. But Gallo Estrada, so far, to me, and if he beats Chocolatito second time, you got to consider him for fight of the year by the end of the year. It's my opinion. So
Yeah.
I can't take no robbery as fighter of the year.
come on. What about what about Oscar Valdez? What about Oscar Valdez?
He's in the
Valdez
mix.
has a shot. He has a shot at it before the
You can
year's over,
throw-
depending on who he fights.
You can throw Jamal Herring in the mix as well. A good win for him.
David Benavidez, maybe.
David, no.
No, what I mean,
Who
he
doesn't
hasn't
like
fought.
David?
No,
No,
because
I'm just saying, like,
he haven't fought from
not
January
for
to June.
Yeah,
Okay.
not for fighter of the year. I mean, no.
Oh no, I'm saying like a potential great fighter of the year. I mean,
I think
David.
when it's all said and done, though, Canelo is going to have the most fights in. He's either going to fight Plant. If he can't get Plant, I heard he's going to fight Better Biev at light heavyweight.
Wow.
If he beats Better Biev, come on, man, that's insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I think
Canelo, I think he's definitely the favorite to become fighter of the year because he's active. There's no doubt about it.
too many fights.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys in the mix. I think. I think Gallo's one of them. I think.
I mean,
Valdez is up there.
can we do? I mean, depending on who he fights, because we all know this guy can fight anywhere he wants at this point, the way they're promoting him. But I mean, Tank, he beat Barrios. Depending on where he goes from here, I mean, if he gets another win somewhere, he could qualify for it at the end of the year.
If Fury knocks out Wilder again, he could be fighter of the year too.
Yeah, you'll crown him fight of the decade, Beeb. So that doesn't count.
I think why is everybody leaving my guy Jamel out? Because he would have beaten 2 champions and then to go for about undisputed within this year. It's what he
He's
would
got
have
a
done.
shot for sure, man, for sure.
I think he's
And look-
right behind. Who's above him besides Canelo? Like, who would be above him besides Canelo?
Let me tell you guys this: if Josh Taylor gets the Crawford fight and beats Crawford, he's the fight of the year.
No, he's fighting his mandatory in November.
Yeah,
there goes that. Well, there goes that. You know what I mean? Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and proceed here. Oscar de la Hoya. We're going to go ahead and finish off with this guy. All right. A shout out to Analia Jaramillo, Outlaw, JC, Savage Native, LT, Boxing y Desmadre, No Paul, HLD, all you guys, man. Shout out. Thank you for being here. And we have the poll up right now. 51 votes. Is De La Hoya hating on Canelo? 92% say yes. I want to know who the 8% is. and I want to know if they're tied to the 7 thumbs down I got. You know what I mean? I don't know, but like maybe it is. But let's go ahead and talk about it. You know what I mean? First of all, Oscar De La Hoya went on record earlier this week and said, you know, he was asked, hey, how much of this is an act? Like, do you really feel that way about Canelo? And it sounded like he was going to kind of go back to just being normal. And like, no. Canelo, he's big. He's strong like an ox. He's like Ricardo Mayorga, But he just isn't at my level, Floyd's level, guys from my era. He's just not that good. He's like another Ricardo Mayorga, which is laughable to me. And it is for sure the most hater comment of all time. Right? I've never it just is. But then Boxing Scene reports that De La Hoya comes out and says that he knows Chavez and he knows he didn't pass no torch to Canelo. I know Chavez. He wouldn't do that, he said. Even though Chavez on his Twitter account retweeted articles saying he passed the torch, right? like he's literally retweeted articles and literally called Canelo to his corner for the last round of his career so he could have him in his corner, right? And embrace him at the end. So with that said, let's start with Calix here. What do you make of De La Hoya and his hatred towards Saul Canelo Alvarez, brother?
D-Style, I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point. And then this is coming after a couple weeks ago, right? He said he's on a 3-fight plan where he's gonna fight 2 UFC fighters and fight Mayweather the 3rd time. So I think he just, at this point, man, he just.
Mira. Yo soy mejor. Yo soy mejor que este pinche cabrón Canelo. ¿Cómo chingado Canelo? Como yo le parto la madre a ese cabrón. Ese los pinches fracos de los quito de la pinche cara. Pinche cabrones. But anyway, does he remind you of Mayorga?
No. And look, that's no disrespect to Mayorga because Mayorga was actually a good fighter, man. He was a good fighter, but as much as people hated him, he's a good fighter. But no, man, the technical ability, where Canelo is going with his career, will far surpass where Mayorga was, and the styles don't match up. He's just trying to make it out to where he's just trying to hate on Canelo, that Canelo's just a bruiser, Canelo's flat-footed. You saw when he commented on the video of Canelo helping out the kid. We discussed this last month. It's just not a good look, man. Like, especially if you're a promoter, you're trying to draw other fighters into your promotional company. To hate on a guy who was your top guy for years, it's like, come on, man, stop being salty. I don't really have much to say on it at this point that we haven't spoken on yet. It's spoken on already. It's just it's sad to watch. But if you're Canelo, man, like I said last month, stay focused. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Stay focused on your goals and keep going. Too big for this.
Mira, le quiero preguntar a Nancy, ¿tú crees que Canelo es mejor que yo? ¿Es mejor que yo él? Yo soy el mejor. I'm the best. I'm the best.
Único.
I'm better than Canelo.
Único, right? So like Chief Funky said, I mean, like that's just ridiculous. Mayorga was good in his own way, his own style. You don't take that away from him, but you can't compare. And there must have been something in, when they parted ways, there must have been something that said, like, you can't talk shit about each other till, X amount of months, and then it's over. So now he can talk shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think seriously, I think that's what happened, right? So like timeline's done, and now he's just, open to talking shit about him. Some of the comments that he was making, saying that, it doesn't compare the competition that, that we had, his era, the, Barrera, Morales, you can't compare. That's just, it is salty. That's just, I don't know why he's talking, man. And it's disappointing. I think I've said it before. Like, I was a De La Hoya fan. Like, I really was. Like, and it's just been many years of disappointment, right? Like, he could just stay quiet, man. He doesn't have to make these comments. And it wasn't like Canelo was out there fishing for them or doing, no, they were like completely unprovoked. I think it's ridiculous.
Let me ask T. Jefferson. You tell me, is Canelo better for me? I'm better than Canelo. I'm better. I'm better than him. Go ahead, T.
Hey, Canelo's like, Oscar De La Hoya is like a sad, jealous ex. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Like, look, Canelo was the bank, man. So the bank left. He feeling that deep. It's like a knife in his heart. After all I've done for you, you son of a bitch, you gonna leave me like that? You know what I mean? Hey, he's sour, man. Sour grapes, bro. Sour grapes. He's hating for sure. Yes, it's Canelo hate. We all know it's Canelo hate. You know? Look, Oscar was great. Oscar De La Hoya in his own right was great. He was a great fighter, right? He goes down as one of the ATGs, I would assume. Definitely. You know, Oscar De La Hoya, but Canelo's doing his thing now, and he left. He don't need you anymore. You know, sometimes when it's like that, when you're that great, and you got this guy that's coming up and he's under you, and he pulls up from under you and takes that money with him. Hey, man, sour grapes. That's what I think it is.
Sour grapes, bro. But like, you saw that image, bro? Like, what do you mean he didn't pass the torch, bro? He called him to the corner. He did this with him. Like, I wish you were. Yo quiero que tú eres mi hijo, tú. Ese cabrón es mi hijo. You know what I mean? But Joe Abib, Mayorga has a question for you, brother. You ready? No, but what do you mean? I want to know if Joe Habib, you're the expert. You're the expert here, or you Ringside Report. Ringside Report Sundays on ringsidereport.com. I'm better than Canelo, right?
He looks like the guy from, remember that movie American Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He looks like.
He does.
But you know, anyone that watches the sport of boxing, they know that Canelo's style. You like that, G? They know Canelo's style is nothing like Ricardo Mayorga's style. It has no resemblance whatsoever. So if you're going to compare him to Ricardo Mayorga, that right then and there, this is another guy who's really not good at talking trash. He's not a good shit talker, De La Hoya. Him and Keith Thurman should go to shit talking school classes or whatever, because they're just not good at talking trash. You know, obviously you can't take it serious, because when Canelo was being promoted by De La Hoya, he was the greatest fighter of all time. He was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And all of a sudden, how did his skills diminish that quickly? It's kind of coincidental that as soon as he was stopped being promoted by De La Hoya, all of a sudden his skills deteriorated. But yeah, again, it just like De La Hoya, he's very disingenuous. He's really hard to take serious. At this point, I don't think many people do take him serious. At one point, he was saying that he wanted to fight Canelo and he thought he could beat Canelo. Then at one point, he thought he could beat Triple G. I just think a lot of this stuff is just all talk, whatever. And it's a guy who I think it's a guy who's really hurting inside. I think he's crying out for help in his own way. And this is just De La Hoya, just showing everyone his issues. Right? He's got a lot of problems.
I told everybody that Hoya is a muñeca. I told everybody. No, nobody listened to me. Johnny Sig, you have a cigarette? Is that what the name is for? It didn't let me know. But Johnny Sig, what do you make of De La Hoya saying that Canelo is like me?
Well, here's what's up. Mayorga was a super electrifying personality, to smoking the cigarettes, to drinking the beer, being a boxer, being a badass. Come on, guys. It was all fun. You know, and he actually beat Vernon Forrest twice. Like that's pretty incredible. Like, how does that happen? No one in a million years would think, right? At the time, guys, let's go back to the timeline, that Mayorga would beat Vernon Forrest. Vernon Forrest was kicking ass at welterweight. As far as De La Hoya wanting to fight Canelo, nah, bro. Like, don't even go there. I mean, Canelo is in his own right now. De La Hoya is way past his prime. I know he's going to do a mixed martial arts fight or a boxing fight or whatever they're scheduling for Triller or whatever it is, which, by the way, is remarkable entertainment if you ever watch it for the commentating. It's very funny. But outside of that, I mean, where does De La Hoya go with this? I mean, do I think it is like a passion play? Do I think that he has a certain beef with Canelo, like some kind of like bad breakup, like you guys had said earlier? Yeah, I think that's what the issue is. De La Hoya is an amazing fighter. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. But at this point in time right now, do I feel that he could persevere and beat a guy like Canelo? Absolutely fucking not. Period.
Stay away. Stay away.
It's ridiculous.
Hey, Chief Funk, I want to know if you believe that I'm better than Canelo. He's not good for me. I'm the best. I'm the best fighter in Nicaragua. Not chocolatito. I don't care what these say. I'm the best Nicaragua history. Me.
Sí, campeón. Sí, campeón.
Yo soy el mejor. Yo soy el mejor de todos. Yo me parto la madre de estos cabrones. Chocolatito me pega mi pierna ese cabrón. Pero mira, Chief Funky.
Eric, can I ask you a question real quick?
Hold on. I'm going to Chief Funky, brother, real quick.
Go ahead.
Chief Funky, what do you make of the fact that Chavez passes the torch and then De La Hoya comes in and says, "Nah, you ain't passing the torch." What do you make about that?
Yeah, more sour grapes there because we know back in the day, those of you that were, everybody on this panel was old enough to remember when Oscar and Chavez fought. Well, there might be some people watching right now and later that weren't around then, but there was a big rivalry between those two. Mm-hmm. Oscar, the Chicano, Chavez was, one of the best, if not in a lot of people's opinion, the greatest champion out of Mexico. So that was a big rivalry. There were some nasty things said there between those two in the buildup of those fights. So I think it is sour grapes because, Chavez never really gave Oscar that kind of respect, even when he beat him. He made excuses and things like that after the fight. And so, yeah, and it's just more sour grapes. But to compare him to Mayorga, now, look, I liked Mayorga. He was fun. He was entertaining. The press conferences were just pure fire every time. From him, trying to fight with Fernando Vargas, and then slapping Mosley's wife on the butt when they had their fight, and the guy was just crazy, So Canelo's nothing like that. Outside the ring, inside the ring, they're two totally different fighters. So yeah, Oscar, just please do me a favor, man. Okay, lay off the booger sugar, all right, and it'll be
lay off the booger sugar. Hey guys, we have hit the 12th and final round. That does mean final thoughts. You can say whatever you want for 2 minutes. Plug in your stuff. Let people know where they can find you as well.
I'm going here with G Funky, if you don't mind. G Funky, do you remember when the Chavez fight, the second one after De La Hoya, when Larry Merchant pressed Chavez? And he was like, you quit. He's like, I didn't quit. And he got all pissed off.
Bullshit.
He's like,
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
But time out. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to go to final thoughts. Let's start with Nancy. Nancy, give us your final thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank y'all for having me on the show. I'm so grateful. I have so much fun. Just love every minute of hanging out with y'all and talking boxing. So want to say thank you. Where you follow me on Boxing Republic. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's Facebook. And what that is a 501c3 nonprofit that's pending status. And I'm just trying to be more than a fan. So if you want to do the same, follow me, give back to the boxing community, give back to some of the communities that have raised some of the boxers, that we've been talking about today and that we love. So that's what I'm doing. I'm also starting Boxing Book Club. #Boxing Book Club. So I'm a bit of a book nerd. And over the years, I've been introduced to so many great books. And I think there's more people out there like me. So follow me for that as well. But thank you all. Thank you. So much fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. We want to thank you for coming on, Nancy. Always welcome. And you have a great one. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. And D. Jefferson, give us your final thoughts, brother.
Final thoughts. Teofimo's gonna knock Lomacheko out the 7th round. Tyson Fury is gonna beat Deontay Wilder up again. G Funky, D Style, Hispanic Culture, Panic, hermanos. Hey, feel good to be back, man. I took a month off, took a little break, but feel good to be back. Y'all can catch me on Speak Your Mind Sports Talk everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Speak Your Mind Sports Talk. Come check me out. Or just catch me over here with my man D Style and G Funky. Invite me. I love it. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Nice meeting you too. Hope to be back soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Johnny Sig, this is your moment to give you your final thoughts. You got 2 minutes. Touch gloves. Give us your final thoughts.
Much love to everyone. Thank you guys for sitting down and having, a great conversation about boxing. My favorite thing in life, honestly, is boxing. And real quick, we talked about Mayorga. How funny was it when De La Hoya sent him to hell with that left hook like right away in that fight. That I had to bring that up. But you can follow me at Boxing Music John on Twitter, and I encourage everyone to follow everyone that is on this panel today. They are not only amazing people, they know a lot about the sport of boxing and know a lot about life. And I just encourage you to represent and follow these amazing people. And I'm so thankful to be a part of the panel.
Hey, thanks for coming on, bro. We definitely appreciate you. G Funky is a 12th and final round. Touch gloves and give us your final thoughts.
Well, you guys already know what the deal is. All right, G Funky, Hispanics causing panic. We moved the show to Monday, so it's HCP Monday Night Uncensored on G Funky Boxing here on YouTube. Make sure you're there because I am the new Mr. Monday Night around these parts. All right. And shout out again to the fighter of the year so far, Anderson Silva, for beating up on Chavez Jr., man. That was just the greatest thing I've seen so far this year, man.
Well said. Well said. Joe B closes out with some final thoughts, brother.
Just got a message from the National Association of Speech Pathology. They want an apology for what you said earlier in the show. I think we touched on a really good topic about censorship, because earlier in the year there was also an incident with people interviewing Mark Tibbs, and those videos got taken down mysteriously because I guess Mark Tibbs said things that he wasn't quote unquote supposed to say. So I think that's a very important topic in the sport of boxing, and I think it's tough for these people who depend on doing this as a main source of income, because at any time they can get their credentials yanked and they won't be able to cover the events, and thus they won't be able to have material for their websites and their YouTube channels. But I think we have a great fight coming up with Wilder versus Fury. It seemed to take on a life of its own with other outside factors contributing to it, and now it's become more than a fight. Now it's become a battle of tribalism, so to speak. And I think you talked about this earlier, not today, but on videos in the past that you've done about how YouTube has just gone really, really sour, how people are just really taking it to another level. There's so much vitriol going back and forth here, and all it is just a difference of opinion, but for some reason it becomes personal. So I think guys like us who come on here and we just give our opinions and we just talk about the sport and we don't really try to make it personal. Hopefully, we can set an example, and there'll be more of us, and we can be the shining light on YouTube in regards to boxing, hopefully.
Well said. Well said. I want to give a shout out to everyone, man. Thanks to everybody to come in. Make sure you follow the HCP network on here. Started with Mano a Mano with Maestro and Kenny, followed by HCP Uncensored. Tuesdays, HCP podcast with myself and G Funky, followed by Al Chile with A-Rod. Of course, Women Crushing the Wednesdays on Wednesdays, followed by Power Punches with myself and Calix. And of course, the Round Table on Thursdays, followed by Roundtable Overtime with Maestro. Maestro is not, he's on vacation. He's out at the beach. So it is what it is, but he'll be back next week. We have a lot of content here for you. Make sure you check out Tuesday's show. We have the guys from the Boxing Voice on. Interesting stuff, interesting takes. Always tune in. This is D-Style Boxing. Keep it boxing. We're out of here, guys.